Hey guys, we are live. Can you do a live dance with me, Michael? We're live. Okay. See, he's very, very serious about the things he does. Guys, we are live with Michael Frickin' Chu. That is his technical name, Michael Frickin' Chu. He is...
It's technically my name, yes.
That is technically your name. I kid you not, you're one of the most talented, brilliant minds I've ever met, Michael. He's the writer of most characters in Overwatch and works on a lot of other amazing things as well. So we're going to get into all of that. But welcome, dude.
Yeah, it's great to see you. I'm just excited to do stuff like this because it gives me an excuse to hang out with you, which I haven't seen you in a long time.
When was the last time I saw you? Maybe BlizzCon when Anja and I dressed up.
I think that's right.
That's
actually.
a year and 2 months now.
Yeah.
Holy cow. That's kind of sad too, you know? That time has passed and, well, pandemic, you know, everyone's going through that, but it's just weird. Yeah, these Twitch hangs are also an excuse for me to be able to see you guys and, like, ask questions and stuff. Welcome, chat. I'm so happy to have you here. Booty Farts 22 is excited to have Michael Frickin' Chu. So good, man. So the chat will ebb and flow with amount of people and the countries here, but always feel free to let us know where you guys are. Like, hi from, you know, the bottom of the ocean. That's also great. The diva waifu has missed you, Michael. Mercy Yura, is he allowed to answer questions about Overwatch? Yeah, we're going to get into what we can, and Overwatch 2 is going to be a crazy thing. Guys, it comes out February 22nd. Everyone's like, what? Ah! No, it's not. I have no idea when it's coming out, but I love saying stuff like that and having people freak out. So, first of all, tell me about...
You've really taken that sombra trolling to heart, haven't you?
Dude, the thing is, I think I was always like, that was always part of me, and then just Sombra has magnified it, so it's wonderful. Yo, what are the little ducklings behind you? I'm sure it's something from anime that I'm supposed to know, but I don't.
It's from Spirited Away, so one of the things I do to keep myself sane during lockdown is that I change my Zoom background a lot, like multiple times a day, because it just kind of keeps things, it changes things up. It's kind of fun.
I should have known it was Miyazaki because you were the one who told me all about your love for him. But I watched Spirited Away. I don't remember that. Spirited and Away.
Yeah, no, it's not like a main part of the story, but they just recently released a bunch of images, and I saw this one. I was like, that would make a great Zoom background.
Super. Dude, what is your favorite anime for the chat to know? Because a lot of them love anime.
Oh man, so I mean, for TV shows, like I love Cowboy Bebop. I love Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. I really love Evangelion. I'm actually wearing an Evangelion hoodie right now.
Yes.
And then movie-wise, I like Your Name. I like pretty much anything Miyazaki. I love Howl's Moving Castle. I love Porco Rosso. So yeah, I like lots of anime. My favorite anime I'm watching right now is Haikyuu, which is the one about boys who play volleyball.
Awesome. Sometimes I'm like, how do they come up with this storyline? Yeah, let's focus on a male volleyball team, Kyuzo Nakamaru says, I'm looking gorgeous today. Thank you. That's adorable. Guys, Michael Chu's looking pretty fine as well. I've never seen such long hair. Are you going to leave it, let it grow? I can't, because of the hoodie, I'm guessing it's right here, right?
Yeah.
It's,
I'm sort of saying that it's my excuse to let it go out since I can't get it cut anyways. So I guess we'll see how much longer. This has been since March-ish.
Yeah. Oh shoot! The whole pandemic. That's awesome. I got it cut in July, and it really needs a trim right now. That's what happens. So
YouTube videos are great.
What?
Just watch some YouTube videos. I'm sure you can.
Dude, well, no, listen, I take care of this guy by myself, and she's doing pretty well. She keeps pretty straight. The back ain't perfect. My sister helps me out with it because she's living with me right now. But yeah, I gotta keep this one looking cute more than these ends. Booty Farts, you need to watch some Miyazaki. You would enjoy it. Actually, the one I really loved was my friend Totoro.
Oh yeah,
dude. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. So maybe start with that one, Booty. All right, man. So, Michael.
Yes.
Let's talk about Overwatch. Are you tired of talking about Overwatch, or is it like your prized baby that you go, holy cow, this is like this beautiful thing that I still think about often? And you don't work with Blizzard anymore. We'll get into that later. But do you still play Overwatch? Do you still feel like you're always thinking about the characters?
It's funny. I don't play it. I haven't played it too much. I've been pretty busy, but on Twitter every once in a while, I'll just random old tweets that I've made will pop up. So I joke that sometimes I can kind of tell which character something's happening for on Overwatch because of what ancient 2 or 3 year old tweet of mine comes up. So it's pretty amusing. I mean, I still love talking about Overwatch. I love Overwatch. So yeah.
We've been on quite a few panels together, and I know that I loved this question because there are so many characters. We're at 32 now, I think, or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. That are out, right? And you've basically written all of them. So to me, it's a crazy thing that these are such interesting, different, complex characters. So when they ask you which ones you connect to the most, you once said Mei, Winston, and Sombra, right?
That's right.
Kind of expand a little bit on that for the chat because I find it fascinating. They're all so different,
Well, Mei and Winston obviously it's because of the glasses. I think that they have a little bit of that kind of nerdy, geeky personality to them, which obviously I do. So I really empathize with that a lot. I think especially Sombra, her sense of humor. She's kind of snarky, and she's a little more naturalistic than the rest of the cast, I feel like. And so a lot of her jokes and I think a lot of the things she say are sort of things that I feel like if I were presented with some of the Overwatch characters, stuff that I would say. So I think that humor-wise, I think those 3 characters plus Moira really encapsulate the different types of humor I like. So I like the snarky, right? So, and dry, that's where you get the Moira. But I also do the really, really dorky kind of puns and stuff that Mei and Winston do. So I see it as sort of a mix. And then obviously with Mei and Winston, they're the optimistic ones who think that the world can be a better place. So
there's a little of that in you. Yeah. Well, also, this is my personal take on it. Sombra believes she's the best at a lot of what she does, and you're not cocky by any means, but you are really fucking good at what you do, and I think that you have that confidence and like that go-getter, like I can do this and probably do it better than other people. And no, I'm highlighting that positively in you versus Sombra, who's just like mess with the best and die like the rest. But yeah, like you are pretty. You're in your genius zone of writing and creating, and that's pretty rad. As I was showering today before this stream, and I was thinking about like excited to talk to you and hang. I was wondering how in God's name you come up with a character like Junkrat. He is certifiably insane, and the shit he says is bonkers. How do you, like, where does this come from? If you watched it on TV, like, what about, like, fun, inspirational things that have tied into characters, because it's so crazy.
Yeah, I think, like, Junkrat's really interesting. Obviously, the artwork says so much about the character, right? Like, you see that art with his hair is literally on fire and everything, and you're like, okay, I'm taking away this guy is really extra and quite dramatic, I'd say, especially with like a lot of the little details that Arnold did in the concept art. But yeah, he really like. I think the thing that I try to channel with him is like, what is the most over the top thing that he could say in almost anything? And he is really like, he's just like having fun and going over the top. And he has a lot of references to, I think, he has some like Top Gear references. So he has some different things that are just kind of interesting to me, like from a pop culture standpoint. But really it's like what a guy who just wants to say the most extravagant thing in any moment. And he's just like always at 120%. Right, he doesn't really like slack off. He's just like, I need this to be, he is in the moment. Maybe, he does not need to work on being present. He is absolutely present. But he's present in like 10 places at the same time.
Which is magical. I mean, I think that if he focused on the future and the past, like he couldn't function. It's just like he has to do what's happening right there, Yeah. Was he that clear in your head before you guys found Chris Parson? Because Chris brings an amazing energy to him, and so you're saying like this bombastic thing, like he says the most outlandish things. Had you imagined him being this outlandish and then like, oh my god, Chris came along? Or you go, holy shit, Chris went above and beyond, now we can really expand this crazy guy?
It's really interesting because like recollecting stuff like this, as time passes, it all just sort of kind of becomes its own reality. So if I'm thinking back, like we definitely wanted this character to just be over the top, right? Like he loves explosions, he loves fires, and he loves all that. And I definitely remember when Chris came in and he did the voice. And I feel at this point, I hear Chris, I hear his voice and how I think he would say it. And he would totally surprise me sometimes, right? Like, I'd be like, oh, I kind of think he's going to do this. And then he would do something even further, and it was amazing. So in my head, I think like the two things have now just sort of like gone into the washing machine and tumbled around a few times. And so it's kind of hard to say where something starts and begins. But, he definitely, I remember, I asked him about once, because I was like, where did you get this voice from? Because it's not, sometimes people are like, oh, it's just kind of like, it's a little jokery, but I'm like, it's not really, it's really something different. And he said that it was actually, I hope I'm allowed to relay the story, but it was like a voice or an idea of a character that he had sort of been not working on, but he brought it out every once in a while, and like no one had ever wanted it. And then we were like, yes, we want it. And then it was like, finally after years, this kind of creation came to life.
Yeah, he did. He has mentioned that at panels, and that's what gave me hope, because I have some kid voices in me that need to see the light of day, and that I keep using them for auditions, and then I'll try something else, and then I'm like, no, this is going to be the right voice for something. It's just a matter of what character,
Can we hear one of those?
So usually it's like it's a little kid, it's a little kid like this, but like he could also get like a little bit stuffier up here, or whatever.
But it's more about like that was just kind of basic. But I feel like when the script, I love playing little asshole kids. Like the little fucker has to be an asshole, and he's like mischievous, and like if he could swear, he'd be like, oh fuck you, man, But there's something like evil, but just hyperactive about the kid. And I mean, to me, it's a little boy just because of the gravel, but it could be a little girl. But it's more about the trouble that this little character gets into and the things that he or she gets away with. And I feel like that energy I click into when I've read scripts that are written like that. Not all kid voices lend themselves to like work well with that. It's like I think it depends on the script. But I was thinking about going off along the lines of Chris. I was wondering if you have any really interesting stories of maybe a voice that came along that surprised you. And I know that, obviously you don't know what I'm going to do as Sombra before I audition. So then I show up and you go, oh my God, that's cool. But like, did you imagine Zarya to be a particular way? And like, is there anything, I just love these stories about behind the scenes that we don't know,
I mean, almost assuredly. I mean, some characters, I think we have an idea, but you know what? It's funny because it reminds me of, like when you read a book and you watch the movie based on the book.
Yeah.
And then after you've watched the movie, you can go back and read the book and try and like remember what you knew before, but it's sort of warped again. So I have that with voices where I'm like, yeah, I didn't really know, what I thought. I mean, one of the big surprises I'll say is Roadhog, right? Because like we just knew like we wanted something big and scary, and so we're like, oh, I wonder how this is going to work out, right? And then you hear a bunch, and then I remember we heard Josh's voice, and it was just like, oh, like it was exactly it. We didn't know what the scary sound was, but then it appeared and hit us. So definitely that one I remember. But there is some voice in the head, but then once we hear you guys, it just turns into something new.
Yeah. Oh God, that's so incredible. I want to ask about all the references you have because they are everywhere. And I remember, and Sombra says quite a few. Mess with the best and die like the rest, and hack the planet are part of hackers. I'm trying to think of the other ones I say, but I can't think of them right now.
I mean, I think you hit the obvious one. Does she say, I know Kung Fu, probably?
Oh, yeah. I know Kung Fu. Matrix, right? Are there other Matrix ones? So I was thinking about it because the last con I went to before pandemic, we were in Cleveland, and some kid runs up to me and asks me about the Reaper voice line, about the refrigerator.
Yes.
And I texted you because I'm like, I don't freaking know. Right. And so that was, to me, it's a very obscure one. Obviously, maybe to a lot of, basketball fans, it's not. Or just people in general in America.
If you live in LA, you probably know it.
Okay.
Or during a certain time period.
Well, right. That's the thing, though. Like, you're referencing things that could be like 1975, That's your vast knowledge of the world. To me, that's fascinating. Like, how do you decide which reference goes with which character?
Yeah.
Like,
so it's funny because I'll let you in on a little secret, which people who have worked with me knows. I'm actually not a huge fan of references. I try not to use them as much as possible. I mean, they're fun, right? Like they come to mind. And so for me, it's really about finding a reference that works as a reference, but also for the character. Like that's why I think in particular, the refrigerator, it's in the refrigerator line is great, is because as a dude from Los Angeles, he would totally understand that reference, but also for a kind of intimidating guy like Reaper, it's in the refrigerator has this kind of creepy, threatening quality that kind of works on both levels. So that's like the kind of reference I like. Or maybe it's, since Overwatch does technically take place in the world, like it's like maybe something they knew. It is funny though, because after Overwatch, I worked on a game called Grounded at Obsidian. And one of the really fun things about that game is it has this 90s vibe. So I got to pull out all these different references from the 90s, and not all of them are like specific line things, but sort of like the emotions of the 90s. Like having grown up in the 90s, I sort of know about these things from experiencing them. And like one of the things that I love referencing is like the weird hyper violence of the 90s. Like everything was violent, but not but in this weird weird way. So I mean, so it's funny, like direct references I try not to, but if we're gonna put them in, I try and make them as make them work as well as they can.
Yeah, guys, I kept working before Michael left Blizzard. I kept working on him so that Sombra could say, "You're killing me, Smalls." No, Reyes. I'm like, come on, can Reyes just say this, please? Because I don't have access to the writer at Overwatch anymore. Before I could just text you random stuff at random hours, you know, see if you were interested in engaging. But now I don't have that. So, you know.
We got Arturito in, so that was good.
We did.
It's my favorite one.
Yeah, you want to tell that story? I think it's fun. I've told it before, but so those of you watching, I have a voice line that goes, I say it to Hammond, you remind me of my teddy bear Arturito. And then he goes, and then I respond, but I like him better. Something like that. I used to think it was, but he's way cuter, because we did record that, but I think the one that was chosen was, but I like him better. So how did that come about, mister?
Oh, I feel like you tell this better than me, but ultimately it's like it's a reference, right, to R2D2 was it like Latinx Hispanic people think that or heard R2D2 and thought that it was Arturito, which would be like a guy's name, and so that's why. Yeah. So you know, what would Sombra name her bear? It's, you know, she's just got that kind of humor where I think she would make. Totally.
Well, that's where your genius came in, because everyone kept asking me, like, what's the name of the bear? And I was like, I don't know. What the heck's the name of I have a bear on my bed? I didn't know that either. But I remember trying to think of something funny, and then I just was like, dude, it's got to be Arturito, because she would enjoy the inside joke. And then you worked it into a voice line that was way better than just going, hey guys, Sombra's teddy bear is named Arturito, you know, which I would have done because I don't have the creative way of inserting it into a voice line.
It's funny though, because sometimes I think like having restraint over stuff like that is really hard, because I'm like, oh, this is such a cool fact that we have about Sombra, but like, you know, I could make a tweet about it. But it was better to save it for the line. Right.
Oh my God, I love the moment at BlizzCon where they ask you who Farah's father is, and you're like, it's Sam. And everyone's like, what? What does that mean? You just throw stuff out like that. Like, that's so brilliant and stressful for fans and gamers, because you're not giving any more information. Go.
I was gonna say it's difficult, right? Because when we're making these universes and these stories, especially something like Overwatch, which is so big, like we have so much stuff figured out and so much stuff kind of lives on. But like with so much stuff, sometimes you're like, I don't know when certain things are actually going to be able to be revealed, and some of the really minor stuff, sort of, you know, you don't know. So for a while when we went, and it's kind of hard in those kind of panel situations, but for a while what I would do is, before we went out for like the voice actor panel, I'd have a couple things where I was like, you know, like it's probably okay for us to drop something about this in this panel if someone asks, right? And that happened to be for that one. I was like, you know, if someone asks me, I'll just say it, right? And so it just happened. But certainly in other panels, I've had stuff that I was gonna say that didn't happen. So I can't really remember what they are, but
so Cyber Cifrado says, Michael, just wanted to say it broke my heart to see you leave Blizzard, though I understand. How has it been moving on from, was it 17 years at Blizzard?
Something like that, yeah. It was, I think it was like just old enough to be an adult.
So wait, guys, when I met Michael and we got to talking at South by Southwest, I said, how long have you been at Blizzard? And you said 17 years. And so then I just stared at you for a minute, and in my brain, like, you know, somebody gets like a job at Blizzard, maybe at 25, you busted your ass, and so you know, got it almost at 30. And I'm like, Michael is 45, but he looks like he's a 28-year-old gamer? How does this work? And you're like, nah, I started the job when I was like 2. Yeah, so how has that felt? You've moved on from basically what started you off in the world of gaming and writing.
Yeah, it was interesting because I was really excited. I was like, oh, you know, I'm going to take this big, long vacation. It was in March of last year. And so, you know, I had all these plans. I was going to go to Japan and just kind of take a break. But that obviously didn't quite play out. And it's been quite almost a year since then. But it has been really great. It gave me a lot of time to be able to kind of do some personal projects of, you know, various types and things. So I'm still trying to make a lot of progress on those. Because of the timing worked out, I worked with my buddy Adam Brennicky at Obsidian. He's like, oh, I'm working on this game called Grounded. Do you have any interest in,
Is that
in
the one
helping us out?
Charlotte Chung works on as well? Yeah.
Yeah, Charlotte and Max are in it, and it's Middleman.
Oh, I'm like, Max is an actor in Overwatch? Who's that? Yeah, Max Middleton. Who's in One Punch Man? Somebody asked about that, and I want to ask you about that too, if you watch it and enjoy it. But
he is in Overwatch.
Max?
Yeah.
Is he in one of the shorts?
He's a robot NPC.
I didn't know that. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, Max Middleman. Okay. he is rad, and he is so talented. So you were working on Grounded.
Yeah, and so I did that, which was really fun again because it was a different type of game, and the game that they had going already was so amazing. I was like, yes, I would kill to help out with this, and just kind of tap into a little bit of that 90s nostalgia. So I worked on that for a while. It was really fun. It was really, really enjoyable game. And then personal projects, and then I guess around June, I forget because time is a blur now. I started a new job at a new studio called 31st Union, which is part of the 2K Take-Two umbrella, and I'm working there as a narrative director now.
2K Take-Two umbrella. I'm putting stuff together in my brain. This is great. So that's fun, man. Do you feel like I'm guessing every job space is different. You writing for that is very different to your dynamic that you had at Blizzard. You're like, yep, and that's not anything else I'm going to talk about. Great. Moving on. Happy late birthday, dude.
No, it's really interesting because I'm kind of working and collaborating with people on all sorts of different things. So like on Grounded, it was really interesting because like, the game and everything was sort of set up, and they're just like, hey, we just need some like cool voice lines and maybe help figure out the story a little bit. And it has a very fun kind of like youthful, fun. I don't know. There's a word I'm looking for. It's not zany, but it's got this cool quality to it. So it's really fun to explore that. And Adam and Mitch and the guys over there had so much stuff already established. So it was fun to just kind of find a place to help bring that to life. So that was fun because like I worked with Adam many years ago at Obsidian on Knights of the Old Republic 2, and we go watch hockey games together all the time. So it was a great experience to work with him again.
Reuniting with a buddy, and like it's just fun,
and then I'm on some smaller projects. Like I'm working on a comic with an artist friend of mine, and that's again another totally different experience, right? Because you're just one-on-one, and you're sort of equal partners and everything. So that's really cool. And then everything has its own sort of dynamic and creative team, and people like to work in different ways. So it's really interesting.
That's amazing. Well, yes, Firestar1236 wants to wish you a happy birthday. And also, we'll talk about that in a sec, wants to know if you'll be involved in Overwatch 2 at all, even though you're not there anymore.
I mean, obviously...
Possibly come on as a consultant for some things, or...
So obviously I worked on Overwatch 2 like when I was at Blizzard, so there's some DNA there. There's some stuff that I worked on that I hopefully will make it, but we'll see.
Yeah, and so you don't know when it's coming out.
I do not know.
So people are always like, come on, like, I love it. I get DMs. When's Overwatch 2 coming out? Guys, I don't freaking know.
It's so much easier for me to dodge that question now. I'm like, I literally don't know.
Have you, are you going to attend BlizzCon on Zoom, or however they're going to do the Zoom, the thing?
Yeah, I might take a look. Yeah, I mean, I've actually been to every BlizzCon since the original one, and I have some pretty fun pictures I should post sometime from the first one. It was definitely a much smaller thing than it is now. But yeah,
how many years was that?
Just,
how many years has BlizzCon existed?
I think it's something like 15 or something. There were a couple. I think there were 2 years where there were no BlizzCon. So I don't know. I can't do the math exactly, but yeah. I mean, I go every year. In the past few years, it was mostly working, doing the panels and kind of doing press stuff. So I haven't really like gotten to experience BlizzCon in a long time.
Yeah. What have you ever cosplayed at BlizzCon?
I don't think so. I had a plan once. I was gonna cosplay as Graffiti Tracer, but I kept forgetting to order the leggings.
You are hilarious. I would love to.
That's true.
Really?
Yeah, it's true. I just always forget because it'd be like a month and a half out. I'm like, oh, if I want to do that, I need to get the leggings, and it'd be like, I don't think I can get them in time.
You're really
and I say 4 weeks.
You're really close to very many cosplayers. I think one that lives under your roof. You could not say, yo, help a brother out.
I say 4 weeks to make myself sound better. It was usually like 3 days ahead of time. I'd be like, what am I going to wear for the panel? Oh, shoot.
You're hilarious. But you do also have a collection of awesome Overwatch shirts, and you always wear one depending on like what's going on with the characters in this time period, or you know, if one of the voice actors is there, you'll wear that shirt. So you have one for every character, right?
Probably, yeah.
Dude, I loved the sombra one you had, the dark purple, and actually I think you connected me to somebody so somebody could send me one, and I requested the same one you had, and they sent me the female version one, and I'm like, no, I wanted the dark purple one, because I think it's just like it's a little bit cool.
It's a different shade.
The chick one was all chick.
Right.
Be a t-shirt. There was another question that came up. Oh yeah, so Mercy Yura is asking which characters are LGBT so she can die peacefully. I love how you approach this, and if you could speak on that with all the Overwatch characters, that would be really beautiful, because we are very LGBT positive on this stream.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, obviously, Tracer and Soldier 76 are the ones that are announced. There are, well, I don't have the final say anymore, but certainly there are more when we're discussing them. You know, it's usually something that we would talk about early on, and the intent of the cast is to be extremely diverse in all sorts of ways, you know, including sexuality and, you know, country of birth, all this stuff. So, yeah, I can't tell you the list. I'm sorry, I don't really know it anymore because, you know, it's not up to me.
you left stuff in a certain position, and they may have changed or moved. So that's great though that you have this legacy. You know, it's like this. You have this whole world exists because you put your blood, sweat, and tears into it, you know?
I mean, me and many other super talented people. I just tried to help out where I could.
Dude, the freaking voice lines, how do you come up with those? And you know what's funny is when they ask me what's your favorite, I have to say I have favorites every day that change, because a lot of people come up to me and remind me of one. Like, I had totally forgotten I recorded I Know Kung Fu. This was years ago. And then they're like, that's my favorite line. And I'm like, it's brilliant. Like, I don't think I have a sombra line that I go, that was okay. It's kind of mediocre. Like, they're all fun to say, and they're all just sassy and funny and like dickheadish sometimes, you know.
You probably have like a on the left or on the right or something like that.
Okay,
but it's hard for you though, right? Because you don't know always when these lines make it, or if I went back and decided that, you know, the writer decides they don't want to use it anymore. So you always have that like, wait, can I say that one? Is that okay? So,
yeah, I don't, until somebody's like mentioned it to me already or tweeted it at me or something, I don't generally bring them up. True, good point. And because I don't play, because I'm terrible at it. Yeah. Ooh, they're asking about the West of House reference.
Oh, sure. I love this one. Yeah, it's a reference to Zork. Zork is not the first video game I play, but it was probably in the first 5. So I've always loved it. I'm a huge adventure game fan, obviously because adventure games early on had the most like story of a lot of games. I also really like exploration games, of course, of which text adventures are like. So when I was picking handles for stuff, I was like, oh, here's this random reference that, you know, it probably means that I can register most things under it, though not everything. I don't have it on every channel. But yeah, that's it's the first room in Zork 1. It's called West of House. So yeah.
Cool. So yes, break every mold anew. This is a really personal question. You can decide if you answer it or not, but I would like you to. Okay. Who do you think is the master booper? Sombra or Lucio?
I have to go Lucio. talk, I'll just show myself out now.
Okay, bye.
Now everyone knows why I like Sombra as my comedy, as my joke hero.
You're entitled to your own opinion, Mr. Chu. I think
I'm just a civilian.
Sombra is the master booper. Can I tell you my story about the boop?
You can't?
Sombra had come out at BlizzCon, and 4 days later was the American election, where Mr. Trump got elected. And I was sitting with a friend in LA because I had flown out for BlizzCon, and we were watching the elections, and it was just like blue, red happening on the screen, and I was stressed out wondering what was going to happen. And Johnny had just put up our video of, him doing his ridiculousness at BlizzCon. So like our Twitter started kind of growing that Monday, Tuesday after, like all of a sudden I went from having -5 followers to having maybe close to 1,000, right? And so you're like, oh, that's, and they started, somebody tweeted at me and was like, oh, can you give me a boop, Sombra? And so I booped them. And then I got another one, hey, can you give me a boop, Sombra? And I booped them. And then it turned into, I would write B and then OO, both O's would be like an emoji and then the P. Mm-hmm. So like I use a exorbitant amount of emojis while I booped people. But because I was mindlessly like sitting there trying to get distracted from the election, I think I booped about 1,000 people. And then it became this thing that now boop is going to go on my grave. But I don't think I would have sat there booping 1,000 people if I wasn't just like staring at a TV waiting to see what the results were. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that was that.
I remember those boops. They were great. You were quite creative with some of them.
I mean, you just gotta scroll through some emojis and it comes, But it was fun, and I felt like, okay, I don't know what this is, but let's boop some people. Yeah, you can get a boop, Cibber Cifrado, boop. Okay, so Lucio's the real booper. That's cool. Have you ever thought of streaming while you play the Overwatch?
I actually have. I don't think anyone wants to see that, for one thing, and it might not be really good to just hear.
But you're a good player. Don't tell me.
No, not at all. But I have actually thought about streaming a little bit. I have the setup now because of kind of remote work from home. I did a little test stream a couple weeks ago, I guess, where I was just trying to see if everything worked, and it did not work super well. But I was cleaning up my Animal Crossing town that I hadn't looked at for 5 months, and it was pretty funny because people would come in, or my villagers would be like, hey, it seems like you haven't been here in a long time, and I felt really bad. But I'm sort of trying to figure out what people would actually find interesting for me to play. I've made some silly suggestions to my friends, like I could go back and play Final Fantasy VII, but do all the voices. Which would be awful, because number one, I can't act, and number two, I don't have that many voices. I could just have people, maybe I could play some games that like I happen to like, and maybe talk about why I like them. But I don't know. I might do it, but I got to figure out the thing that would actually be.
I think that you'd have a lot of really interesting things to say because you're so knowledgeable on these things, and pop culture, and history, and so many things. I don't go on Twitch to watch people play, but if it's being infused with really interesting commentary, like would be coming out of your mouth, I'd be down.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll see. Yeah. I think it'd be fun. But yeah, maybe just while I'm playing Animal Crossing to start.
Dude, they're saying they'd pay good money to watch you stream. You could become a billionaire.
Billionaire, maybe.
A billionaire. Have you watched Big Mouth?
I haven't yet.
Dude. You need to watch it. It's one of my favorite cartoons right now. I want to get on that show. It would be rad, but I know they just cast their friends, so I just have to become friends with Nick Kroll, basically. I just quoted Maya Rudolph, sort of, because her character is a hormone monster for women and men sometimes. It's funny, they each have their little hormone monsters come out and like talk to them. And she does a great job at voicing this character, but she always talks, she explodes the bee, so she'll be like, I gotta go take a bubble bath. So I just thought of, you gotta be a billionaire, because it's like this like popping bees that are just hysterical. And oh my god, the person that voices Lola is definitely Nick Kroll. He does like 6 of the main characters. They're hysterical. But yeah, every time I take a bubble bath, because I got a very nice gift of some bath bombs, I think of the hormone monster. So give yourself a watch of that if you'd like, soonish. Do you have time to binge some shows? What are you watching these days?
Yeah, I have lots of time. Let's see. I recently finished watching Bridgerton. Before that,
I'm watching it too. I love it. Oh my god.
Before that, I watched. I don't know. It's all blurring together. I joked about this on Twitter, but earlier in lockdown, I watched every single season of Top Chef, including the spin-off shows, which was really interesting.
You're a foodie. You love food.
Yeah, it was fun because I got to see this evolution of like food culture over, I think it's like 13 or 14 years, and there's like some pretty obvious things that have changed. So
yeah,
it's really interesting. I also really enjoy watching the evolution of Padma's reactions to things that happen on the show is really good. So yeah, let's see. I watched all that. I feel like I've watched so much stuff, and I'm sort of blanking now. I'm watching K-dramas right now. I watch a bunch of anime, so
oh, cool.
I keep getting the name wrong, but it's the It's Okay Not to Be Okay, or I think that's the name. I'm not sure.
Oh,
anyways.
I don't know. Cool. I just watched One Night in Miami last night.
How was that?
It's a new movie directed by Regina King. It is, I want to say, the best movie I've watched all year.
Wow.
It is
like
so,
in 2 weeks?
It's so well written. It's so well written. It's so well acted. It's incredible. All year, you know what I mean. The whole of 2020. I still feel like this pandemic is going on, so like it just feels like one long year. Like I knew we weren't just flipping a page over because 2021 came along, you know?
We're on the lunar calendar.
Exactly. So there's a question here that I'm curious about if you are willing to expand just a little bit. Possibly can't answer, but question, Michael, by Meow Indeed. What were you looking for in the voice of Sombra, and how did Carolina's audition hit the right note?
I think the main thing was the sarcasm. That was the thing. Like, I really wanted her to stand out from some of the other characters with this very dry, sarcastic tone. And I think that's what you nailed, Carolina. You were like, you had it. And I wrote her some like long extended bits too. Like, she doesn't have like really, I mean, she does have a couple short kind of quippy jokes and stuff, but she also has some more extended ones. And I think that was really it, was that sarcasm.
Yeah, there you go. Boom.
Yeah.
I was thinking about, a friend of mine like scolds me because of my sarcasm as a human, and even when I'm being super genuine, I'll be like, "Oh my god, thank you so much. I'm so moved and touched by this gift." He'll be like, "Oh fuck you, you're being sarcastic." I'm like, "No, I'm being serious." And he's like, "I don't know anymore. Like, you're so sarcastic all the time." And I'm like, "Come on, man." But yes, I do think that Sombra happened because of that.
Well, luckily in text now, you could just do the /s so that people know you're being sarcastic, unless you use that sarcastically, in which case.
Yo, I didn't know that /s thing. Where did you learn this? Why am I behind the times?
Well, sarcasm is one of the really hard things to translate to text, right? Because you really can't figure it out.
You can't.
Because even by reference, it's not enough. It's really like reference and then whatever your mental image and understanding of the person who said it is. So, I ran into this problem because I'm quite sarcastic. So I started to really use a lot of emojis in my like tweets and stuff like that, because otherwise it's just like, it's totally unclear.
Yes. I sometimes put the little laughing one, or, you got to make a face, because it's just like, clearly this isn't, and it's happened to me sometimes, the comments on my Insta, I'll be like, "This fucker, don't you dare make fun of that person," and then it's obviously like a joke. It's hard though to know. Some people are very literal, other people are definitely, joking. Can you ask Michael if he would be willing to boop? Yeah, man, can you boop the screen?
See.
Oh.
Boop.
You're like...
I'm like, where's my camera?
Yeah, it happens to me sometimes, finding it. There was another fun
Quarantine
question.
coffee, that's the reason.
Yeah, man. Do you drink a lot of coffee?
A little bit. I drink like a cup a day.
That's not a lot, dude.
I know I used to do more, but like it's a little too much.
I do 2, sometimes 3. But God, coffee is delicious, man. I don't really think it's that bad, you know, unless you start like jittering.
It's funny because I think coffee is delicious, but I think it smells even better. I like smelling coffee more than I like drinking it. Though
Yeah.
I do like both quite a bit.
Dude, my coffee machine has the little timer you can set, and I make sure that every night I set it so that and it goes off like maybe 10 minutes before my alarm, so I'll be like, ooh, I feel like a cartoon with the little smell, and they're just gonna like fly out of bed, you know, following the smell.
You should get a Folgers endorsement or something.
Folgers is disgusting. What is wrong with you, Michael?
It's the best part of waking up.
Is Folgers in your cup? I would do Trader Joe's coffee is better than Folgers. I would do that, or a Colombian brand. That would make me very happy.
There you go.
There was a question for you, and I don't know who these guys are, so help me out. Oh shoot, now I lost it. If you could tell us stories about a fun story with Q Fang or Arnold Sang. Are they dudes that you? Is that?
Yeah, they're artists on the Overwatch team. So it's funny because I know probably what you want is a really cool story about making something, but I'm going to tell what is the most obvious. If you've ever interacted with Q, Arnold, and I, you'll know that the first thing that will come to mind in that particular trio is that we're constantly mistaken for each other, even though we look nothing alike.
Just because they're Asian, people are like, yeah.
It's like that and like our hair is at different lengths. I think that should help. Super short hair.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's totally a thing that happens a lot, is that we get mistaken for each other, which in some cases makes a lot of sense, right? Because like if Arnold and I are at BlizzCon or something, like people often mistake us. So the hilarious thing, right, is if someone asks me to draw them something, I'm like, I don't think you actually want that. But
that's funny.
Yeah, sorry. So that is the
figure.
But yeah, sorry. That is the story that comes to mind. Is that we have many versions of it. We've been misidentified for each other in really hilarious situations.
Oh, funny. You know what's really funny? I was at a con, and also I just remembered we saw you in Las Vegas after BlizzCon. Right?
That's right. Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
We had you as a secret guest for our panel.
Oh, that's right.
I was at a con, and I'm sitting next to Chloe Hollings, who's the voice of Widowmaker, and the banners, they'd hung a little bit crooked, so they weren't like me right under my face and her right under her face, so I was kind of close to her big banner face, but then somebody came up and started talking to I had an assistant there handling stuff, and they were talking to her saying, could I get your autograph? And the girl was like, do you want hers? Oh no, I'd like your autograph. And so she thought that my assistant was, I guess, Widowmaker, but then she goes, no, this is the voice actress. And then she comes to me, she goes, oh, I'm so sorry, could I get, a voice line? And so I start doing Sombra, and then she goes, oh, no, I wanted you to do Widowmaker. And I'm like, do you think I'm Widowmaker? Because I'm not. That's Widowmaker. And she was just like, oh. But like, she was just, she just thought that we were the same person. And actually that happens to me all the time with Lucy, more than, it never happens with Chloe. I think the banners fucked us up. But people think that Lucy and I are the same person. I cannot tell you the amount of times that people have gone up to her to call her Sombra. Friends have gone up to me saying, Lucy, and I'm like, it's not, she's right there. At cons, they've offered to pay her Sombra's money, not Widow's money. It's so weird. Anyway, so that's that. What would you say is like one of the things you'd most like to share? We have to wrap up soonish. What's like not an inspirational thing, but like something some beautiful anecdote, some like really fun tidbit about something that you'd like to like leave this beautiful chat off with. I feel like they've been very engaged in asking fun questions, but like I don't know, words of wisdom.
I mean the 2021 words of wisdom: be safe, stay healthy, do all of that. It's very important. Wear your mask.
Wait, you believe in Corona? Come on. It's a hoax of the government. That's a joke, guys. That's a joke. It's not, I'm not, and now people are going to go like, Sombra doesn't believe in Corona.
But yeah, like, I mean, I think, it's a good time for everyone to sort of look at the things that are important and stuff that they're really passionate about, and figure out ways to engage with those things. I think, 2020 was a great year. I was very inspired about the sense that maybe we as people are sort of realizing that we have to do more than kind of nod and agree with things and causes that we think are important, and we need to find ways to engage with them, support them, like in a real meaningful way. So I thought that was one of the inspirational things that came out of last year, and I hope that stuff like that can continue.
Yeah.
For me, I think that means, in terms of the projects and stuff that I want to look at for the future, it's like, hey, what can I do to help improve, diversity, inclusivity, representation, and entertainment? So that's something that I really want to continue to champion. So I think, I think that's kind of that's the good inspirational thing that maybe came out of a very dark and difficult year.
But what's crazy though is you have been, I think that Overwatch was the video game that like led other video games to understand how important diversity is, right? And I think that like for the last 4 years that is it going to come on 5 years this May for Overwatch?
I think that's right, yeah.
Yeah. To me, it's crazy that this wasn't something that existed before, that like this is the trailblazer for games that include characters from all over the world that look so different, that aren't just hot babes and like hunky, G.I. Joe dudes. And that's inspired. I work on Valorant now, and it's a very different game, but it's very clear that, the world is understood. The whole world wants to be represented in these universal games,
Having worked so many years on Overwatch, like there's all this stuff that I love and take away from it. Like I love many of the characters and a lot of the stories, and there's obviously I got to meet lots of people through it and all these great experiences. But I think if I got nothing else but that people could point to Overwatch as an example of like, look, see, like you can have people who look different and have different backgrounds and stuff, and that that's a thing that other storytellers, other entertainment properties can look at as like a positive example. I think that would be great. So I'm hoping that is one of the enduring legacies of the game.
Absolutely, and you want to do a musical of Overwatch, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that these doors open up, for different creators and stuff, and like I'm hoping like for myself, it's more possible to kind of take on projects where like I have a little bit more, do like my voice or the thing that are more important to me. So let's hope so.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a voice actor who is auditioning for different things constantly, I love that I'm getting to audition more for really cool Hispanic characters, or just seeing the team behind like an animation that's a pilot, and the creator's female, and she's also Latina, and the animators are African American, and there's Asians doing this. Like it's I'm seeing that because I see all the names and understanding. Okay, we're going. Even though these aren't being produced right now, they're pilots to be turned into something else, and that's really cool. Lots of questions are coming up at the end, guys, that we've answered already. So sorry. So I'm not going to take time to respond those now. Junkrat is also my spirit animal, but so feel free to, unfortunately, rewatch this stream because we kind of touched upon a lot of these different things. And I forgot to say, Michael, if you want to win a gaming chair, you can totally enter a raffle. I'm going to be giving one exactly like this away. Look, check it out, going down, bum, bum, bum. It's Secret Lab. It's a really cool gaming chair company, and we're giving away a chair next Thursday. So in 2 days, on this stream between 12 and 1, we're going to do one of those code things that you type it in the chat and somebody wins, and we mail it to you. There are a few things you have to do, like follow me on Insta, tag a friend, and write your favorite sombra or Ray's voice line, and follow Secret Lab. How freaking easy is that to win a free chair? So I'm reminding the chat as I'm telling you, and you're like, nah, I'm good. I got my setup good to go.
It's important to have a good chair. We're all sitting in our chairs more than ever, so.
Dude, yes, absolutely. And then we can nap, because this I've shown the chat how this works, but it goes back all the way, and I'm like, whoa! So that's very exciting. Michael, I'm going to take 2 minutes, not even 30 seconds, to shout out the new subscriptions before we say goodbye. You want to hang with me while I do that?
Yeah, of course.
Hubert, all right. So I guess 2 days ago there was a subscription, or yesterday, the Nerdic Nord. Thank you for doing that. Sola Tribus, I think it's in Spanish. Subscribe for 1 month at tier 1. Thank you, baby cakes. We got Snorlaxian, subscribed with Prime. And Amazing Robe is asking for a Sombra voice line that I don't know if it's one that I recently recorded, but now I can't remember. Who wants to buy me a present? Does that have to do with the karaoke thing? I don't know. I finally recorded the karaoke stuff, Michael. Ooh. Do you know, like all the characters have done this over the years, and I finally went in during pandemic to do that, and the voice lines are out. They're really funny, man. She's just like hacking the landlords so that the tenants don't have to pay rent, or hacking the pizza place or something. I don't know, funny stuff. So that was all for today, guys. Thank you for joining, Michael. Thank you for hanging with us, dude. I wish it was
my
longer.
pleasure.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll see you soon too, dude.
Yeah, maybe I'll invite you to be on my Twitch channel.
Listen, if you do a Twitch channel, you know you have the support of all of us, and we would definitely come on to troll you, if not to be nice to you. And Sombra needs a drink. That's one of my favorites. Is that a reference to something?
I need a drink. I mean, no, her need for a drink.
Oh no, I didn't know if maybe it was in a movie, and it's like
maybe
iconic, like Robert De Niro saying it or something.
Oh, I don't know, possibly. It's totally possible. I don't want to claim credit for something that I have nothing to do with.
Oh my god, I gotta check my activity feed. Thank you. Oh, Cyber Cifrado, is that one? Yes. Merciera. Okay, gosh, more came up. Sorry. Before we sign off, Merciera. Okay, so I only have like 78 grenades left. Hopefully that's enough. That's a raise line. I believe it goes something sort of like this. Raise. I have to think like raise. Okay, so I only have like 78 grenades left. Hopefully that's enough. She's a little bit zanier. I like to channel my inner Junkrat. And Cyber Cifrado subscribed for 4 months with Prime. Thank you! Woohoo! Alright guys, for reals, we got to go, cause life is happening today. So love to you all. Keep safe, stay safe, wear a mask, all that amazing stuff. Michael Chu, I bow down to you and your genius. Thank you for joining. Seriously, guys.
Yep.
Give him a follow on the Twitter and the Insta. It's at West of House. Very easy. And keep booming and booping, guys. Boop.